Okay, so let's quickly just grab our stuff. We'll be a dude. We definitely want to be a sorcerer. We want the master key because that opens up lots of handy places. We'll be a commoner because it's the only face that doesn't look completely peculiar, and it looks bad enough as it is. We'll be bald, and our bald hair doesn't matter, but it can be black, I suppose. And off we go.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skills. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. Yes, indeed. The dark side brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This your fate.
Alright, so here we are in Undead Asylum. That knightly chappie has very handily dropped the key to the dungeon. So we'll just head off, and these little dudes won't bother us. That giant monster in there, though, we will be fighting, but not for a while yet. That's the stray demon. But anyway, moving on. So yes, this is what passes for a tutorial in Dark Souls. You basically just read some of the stuff on the floor, which I'm not going to do, and there is a relatively easy boss fight just through this door, which is like the training boss fight. But before we do that, we need to actually get our weapons and stuff. So we'll just rest here, then we'll go through this door, and when we enter the room properly, the boss will basically just jump in, but we want to just run past him and escape, because we don't want to fight him until we've actually got our things together. Because all we've got at the moment is a broken sword, and that's not going to do us very much good against that big bastard. So we just come through here, where there is very conveniently another bonfire, as if the first one wasn't enough. Right, this little area is where you start picking up your gubbins. And yeah, let's just get our shield on. Oops. Yeah, so this guy should run off. Yep. And we pick up our dagger by here. It's a funny little thing about the sorcery playthrough, is that if you come along here, you get the dagger as like your primary weapon, whereas if you play one of the melee characters, then you'll actually end up getting the like your primary weapon there. But actually, the main weapon that the sorcerer uses is the sorcerer's catalyst, which we'll be finding a little bit further ahead. Now then, there's a guy we want to talk to through this wall, which we can't do anything about, but there's a booby trap here, which opens the wall very nicely for us. So we go in here and we talk to this dude, who presumably is the guy who dropped the corpse for us.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Yep.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringest the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Okay, so that's pretty much all we get from him. And we just head up to the roof. Next. after we stab this dude in the back. I think they improved the backstabbing thing in the remastered edition. I think it was a lot harder in the original game. Or maybe I was just no good at it. Right, so we want to pick this up. And... yep, here he comes. Little guys try and ambush us. And get stabbed in the back. Right, I think the rest of them should stay where they are for a moment. Right. So we've got the Sorcerer's Catalyst. Oh crap, here he comes. Damn it, I want to stab you in the back. There we go. Happy days, right. So we pick up whatever he's got. Just another broken sword, which we don't need. Right. So there should be an archer and a dude in armour around here. I do love doing that. Right, okay. So the next guy, we may as well shoot with the sorcery, because it takes him down in a couple of hits, which is rather pleasant. Okay, so the next thing to do is to fight the boss. And what we want to do is we want to do a drop attack on him, because he will be below us. So we'll step onto a little ledge and then jump down into the arena to fight him. But if we can do a drop attack successfully, we'll take off a lot of his health just to start with. So that's always worth doing. There he is. And there's a shitload of health gone. Okay, now then. Next stage is to just try and stay behind him and shoot his ass if we can stay actually around his ass. Huh, okay. I'm struggling a bit to actually... right, there we go. One big hairy demon ass. Just shoot it full of bolts of blue light. And... yep. And you have a dead demon's ass in your face. Happy days. Good. And this is the door to get out of the asylum. So away we go. Off to the land of the ancient lords. And all you have to do is run up here and a birdie turns up.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Alright, so this is Firelink Shrine, where we conveniently get 10 Estus flasks rather than 5, which is a nice way to start. Now then, a few things we're going to do to start with. Now, you can just carry on the game from here as you are, and you just go up this path and see what happens. However, I am actually going to do things a little bit differently, and I'm going to go around, firstly, an alternative way to start with, and I'm going to go down to an area of the game that you usually get to a bit later on to get some different clothes and a different catalyst, both of which are sort of more powerful than what I've got at the moment. I'm also going to have a quick snoop around Firelink and just pick up a couple of little goodies that are waiting for us here. And then I shall head down. Right, so by here is a lift, which we can't actually use at the moment, but if you jump down, there is in fact a little doorway, and this takes us to an area where there's a few goodies. Only maybe one of which I'll actually be using, but we'll just get them anyway. Right, so cracked eye orb, that's for PvP and sort of online stuff, which I'm not going to be doing. Talismans are for casting miracles, and the Morning Star is just a weapon. Homeward Bones are very useful, and I'll be using that a bit. They take you back to the last bonfire you rested at. And this is a Lloyd's Talisman. That's also good for PvP because it prevents Estus recovery, but you can also use them on Mimic chests, which are very annoying things which eat you. But they also contain assorted goodies, and it's very worth just using the Lloyd's Talisman to put them to sleep before they can actually do anything to you. Right, now these skeletons will come back to life, so it's actually worth not fighting them at this stage of the game, and you sort of come back to that area later. So now we just leg it to the bonfire, because they will disappear again once we rest. Okay, we can talk to this guy, but we're not going to. He'll basically just tell you where you need to go. Well, he'll give you a hint where you need to go next. Basically, the idea is that we have 2 bells that we have to ring, and then a creature will appear and tell us what we have to do next. But I already know where these things are, so I'm just going to ignore him for now, because he's not really important otherwise. Let's grab what's around here. Now this place we see is New Londo. It's the ruins, and it's full of ghosts, which you have to put a special thing on your weapon called Transient Curse. If you don't do that, you will basically just not do any damage to them, which is rather a nuisance. Now then, I should have some souls. I'm not sure if I've got quite enough right now. I think we need about 6,000. Yeah, I think we'll leave that for a minute. So what we do next is we go up this little bit. I think it's this bit. Yes. And this is where the master key really comes in handy. This is the Valley of the Drakes, and you don't come here for quite a while, really. And this little sort of cave takes us down to Blight Town, which is an area that many players absolutely hate. But it's actually a bit easier going down this way than it is if you go down the normal route. And basically, we're just going down to the bonfire to rest, and then we'll be going sort of backtracking a little bit in order to get these items. Then it'll be back to Firelink Shrine, and we'll be doing a few more things when we get there. Mainly levelling up. Yeah, so basically on your way down, you don't really want to fight anyone. You just want to get down as fast as you can. Try not to get injured or turn toxic or poisoned if you can, but the poison and the toxic tend to sort of happen sometimes, so it's difficult to avoid sometimes. Okay, just drop. There we go. Okay. And the other ladder is here. Down we go. And we just keep going down. Once we get to this stage, we have to jump on this lift, which is... yeah, there we go. Now, I haven't actually reverted to human, which is something you can do in this game at this stage. But if you do actually come into this area while you're human, you'll be attacked by an invader straight away. Not another player, but just like it'll happen as part of the game. Right, and we want to go into this tunnel and light the bonfire. Okay, so before we go back up for the items that we want to get, we are just going to nip across the pool of poison gunk. Because there are like about 3, maybe 4 little things that we want to pick up. I think it's mostly souls, although I could be wrong. This glowing thing here. Is a large soul of a proud knight, so that's quite a lot of souls. And there's another little something over here, which is guarded by the fiery bug thing. Now the downside to this area is that the flies will actually respawn while you're playing, which is a bit of a drag. They sort of shoot poison and they can stab you a bit as well. The swamp itself will poison you, and yeah. So another large soul. Right, so now we've got another. Let's just shoot the flies. Okay, so we've got another soul, I think, over here in the corner. And then there should be another one off to our... well, behind us at the moment. So we just want to pick these up. The idea at the moment is basically just to be a bit more sort of overpowered than we are at the moment, just for the fun of it. Okay, right, so I think we'll just quickly leg it to the bonfire again. So we just go back up the way we came, and we have to go up the lift instead of down this time. Just need to keep an eye on the health meter because it's it will just keep going down a bit from all the poison. Right then, so we're up here. Just need to run around this guy. Grab the old bloodstain. We just head up this way. It's best to lock onto this guy and then just try and sneak around the side, and there we go. And this is what we want. The mask of the sealer, and his outfit, and the catalyst. Okay, so here we are back again by New Londo Ruins, and what we want to do now is to pop a load of souls. So what we want to do is get all the souls that we have picked up so far, and just chuck as many of them in the inventory as we can. Right. And then we gobble them all up. Now the purpose of this is because there is an NPC just down there who will sell us some more spells, and it costs about 6,000, I think, souls, and it's worth having. We can also level up a little bit as well with whatever's left. Hopefully we've got enough for the Tin Banishment Catalyst at least, which needs, I think, 10 strength in order to hold. Right, so here's the guy.
Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't cry. I'm Ricky of Vinheim. I was once an established smith. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
And we have to talk to him again.
What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. No intention of escape. It's safe here. Can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what made me the best infinite.
Okay, so once you've gone through his dialogue, you can purchase item, which is what we want to do. He's got heavy soul arrow and regular soul arrow. We've already got soul arrow, but if we buy this, we get another 30 shots for that soul arrow, giving us 60 in total. So it's thoroughly worth getting those. You can also get the Sorcerer's Catalyst if you don't have it to start with and you want it. And that's pretty much all we want to do with him for the moment.
Smithing helps soothe my nerves.
Okay, so here we are back in Firelink Shrine. We just want to rest at the bonfire and level up. Now then, we need, I believe, 10 strength in order to hold the Tin Banishment Catalyst, and then we put everything else in intelligence. Right, we also then want to attune our magic, so we want to put Soul Arrow in, and the Heavy Soul Arrow. And that should do us. Right, so now we'll just whack on our fancy new outfit. And get rid of that. And here it is, Tin Banishment Catalyst. It also works quite nicely as a spear, which is very handy. You can just do a nice little stab with it. Yep, so there we are, and now we're pretty much ready to do whatever we want. We can head on up that way, that's the sort of next part of the game, but I'm planning to go back down to the Valley of the Drakes again.